Have you ever stared at the person you love and realized you're looking at a complete stranger? That was me, standing there, my world crumbling, all because she asked me to fix her phone. You genuinely enjoy our stories? Please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from, what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. What's a Tuesday? Sarah's phone, a newer model than mine, had frozen. Honey, can you work your magic? She'd asked, her voice laced with that sweet, familiar tone I'd fallen in love with. She was heading out for a girls' night, another one in a long string of them. I took the phone, smiled, and told her I'd have it sorted by the time she got back. Fixing it was a simple, hard reset. But as the screen flickered back to life, a notification popped up. A text from a Mark. My heart didn't just sink. It plummeted. The message was innocent enough. Can't wait for tonight. But it wasn't the words. It was the sender. Mark was my colleague, my friend. My hand started to shake. This couldn't be happening. We were happy, weren't we? We'd just celebrated our 5th anniversary with a weekend trip to Lake Geneva. We'd walked the shoreline, held hands, and talked about our future. But looking back, something had felt off for months. Her late nights at work, her sudden obsession with the gym, the way she guarded her phone like it held state secrets. I dismissed it all. I trusted her. Now that trust felt like a sick joke. Against every fiber of my being, my thumb swiped and her phone unlocked. No password. She always trusted me to fix her tech. A fatal mistake. The message thread with Mark stretched back for months. It started with casual work chats, then flirtatious banter, and then it escalated. Photos, plans. Details of secret meetings in hotel rooms near the Loop, rendezvous at cozy little bars in Lincoln Park that I had once suggested to her. They were using my own knowledge of Chicago against me. It even met at our favorite coffee shop in Wicker Park. The betrayal was so audacious, so brazen, it stole the air from my lungs. There were messages where she complained about me. He's just so predictable, she wrote. So safe. Each word was a fresh stab. They mocked my loyalty, my steady love. They called me the golden retriever, pathetic, eager to please. I read until my vision blurred with tears. The woman I had built my life with, the person I thought was my partner, was laughing at me with another man I had invited into our home. That night, when she came home smelling of expensive perfume and cheap lies, I said nothing. I just handed her the phone. All fixed, I said, my voice unnervingly calm. She kissed my cheek, a ghost of a touch, and went to bed. I stayed on the couch, the silence of our apartment screaming louder than any argument. That's when the hurt curdled into something else, something cold and sharp. The golden retriever was gone. A wolf was taking its place. My breakdown was silent and complete. One evening, after she left for another yoga class, I found myself on the floor of our walk-in closet, surrounded by her clothes, her scent, just sobbing. It was a guttural, Solemtian cry for the man I used to be and the life I thought I had. When the tears stopped, I felt hollowed out, but my mind was clearer than ever. They thought I was a fool. They were about to find out how wrong they were. The next day I began my work. I wasn't just going to leave her. That was too easy. They had humiliated me, and they would pay for it. I installed a keylogger on our shared home computer. I bought a tiny audio recorder, the kind journalists use, and hid it under the passenger seat of her car. I started meticulously documenting everything. Screenshots of their texts, which I forwarded to a secret email account. Recordings of their phone calls filled with stolen I love yous and plans for their future together, a future built on the rubble of my own. I learned that Mark was in line for a big promotion at our firm, a position I was also competing for. Sarah was feeding him inside information, details from my own work projects, to give him an edge. This wasn't just an affair. It was a conspiracy to ruin my career, too. They weren't just cheating, they were parasites. They felt invincible, wrapped in their bubble of deceit. Sarah became colder, more dismissive. She'd pick fights over nothing, trying to paint me as the difficult one, likely laying the groundwork for her eventual departure. I played my part perfectly. The doting, slightly clueless husband. I made her breakfast. I asked about her day. I listened to her complain about her stressful job. All the while, the evidence folder on my hidden hard drive grew. I contacted the best divorce lawyer in Chicago, laying out my case with cold, hard proof. I also gathered evidence of Mark's corporate espionage. The final trap was set for the company's annual gala at the Drake Hotel. It was the biggest night of our corporate year. The night promotions were announced. Sarah was radiant in a new dress, the one Mark had complimented in a text I'd read. Mark was there, smug and confident. They exchanged a subtle, triumphant look across the crowded ballroom. They thought this was their victory lap. As our CEO, Mr. Harrison, took the stage to announce the new senior vice president, I felt a strange calm. My heart was a steady drum. He announced Mark's name. A ripple of applause. Mark stood up, buttoning his suit jacket, a sharp smile on his face. Sarah looked at him with pure adoration. That was my cue. Mr. Harrison, before you continue, I said, my voice carrying across the silent room thanks to a friendly waiter ID tip to get me a microphone. I have a small presentation I believe is relevant to this promotion. Case study in collaborative spirit. On the massive screens behind the stage, meant for a corporate slideshow, a new image appeared. Ow. It was a screenshot of a text from Sarah to Mark, detailing a key strategy from my project proposal. Then another, and another. Then came the audio. Their voices filled the grand ballroom, whispering about their plans, mocking me, talking about his promotion. The room went dead silent. You could hear forks dropping onto plates. I watched Sarah's face. The color drained from it, replaced by a mask of pure horror. Her eyes darted from the screen to me, filled with disbelief and panic. Mark was frozen, half standing, his smug smile dissolving into a slack-jawed gape. I didn't look at them for long. I looked at Mr. Harrison, whose face had hardened into granite. I didn't need to say another word. I placed the microphone down, turned, and walked out of the ballroom, leaving the inferno to burn behind me. The fallout was immediate and absolute. Mark was fired the next day and is now facing a lawsuit from the company. His career is over. Sarah was ostracized. Her friends, our friends, saw the evidence. They saw who she was. She filed for divorce, but with the mountain of evidence of infidelity and collusion I had, she walked away with nothing. She lost her husband, her lover, her reputation, and her financial security in a single night. The last I heard, she was working a retail job, living in a small apartment far from the glamorous Chicago life she craved. Sometimes I walk past the coffee shop in Wicker Park, our old spot. I sit at the same table where they met behind my back. I don't feel anger anymore, or sadness. I just feel quiet. The house is empty now, filled only with echoes. The end.